Today we have a review of the Target Aspar dartboard, kindly sent to me by Target Darts as part of their 2022 launch. The Aspar is a new vision of board, featuring a new discrete numbering and detailing that makes it much more appealing on the eye when rotating your board. As you can see here, we have the board mount and screws and all the fixings required in a bag and a couple of silicone bags to keep the moisture out during storage and transportation. Now you can see the board is not covered in any protective plastic or polystyrene, which, whilst good for the environment, means that there are a few bumps and bruises that have occurred during transport. However, I always see reviews talking about the perfection of the board, which is never high priority for me, as it is a target, and will never look like that once the darts are thrown at it. But I guess if you want to display the board or just feel an element of nostalgia for that new board feeling and look, then you may get stuck up on this. To each their own, I say. Anyway, here you can see the board in its full glory. The immediate difference we can see is the numbering, which is hardened plastic, but not dissimilar from the plastic you get holding the traditional numberings in place, meaning that if you throw a dart at it, it will leave a hole and likely your dart will fall on the floor. The second thing we notice is Aspar and Target alternating text going around the entire board. I really like this innovation and idea, as it's always frustrating, especially when reviewing, when you can see the brand is on the wonk, because the treble 20 has been worn out and you have to rotate your board. The final thing I notice out of the box is the spider wires do not exceed the double parameters, like many others. This is not a big deal, but it's an attempt at looking cleaner perhaps, albeit I can see a few holes that have formed where the sisal biscuits have merged and split, and the wiring system has been placed into the board. There are a few scratches and imperfections on the side here, but nothing that I'm really worried about. On the back you can see the chipboard and where you will ultimately place your centre screw and rubber levers and protectors for the wall. I'm going to give you a little close-up inspection now of the board out of the package, looking at the colours, the wires, the sisal and the overall finish. Here you can see the numbering holders have been scuffed during transport, and you can actually see the indents on the box, which is a shame as it could be resolved with a bit of protective packaging, but I guess with rising ship container charges the brands are keen to fit as many items as they can into a container, so we'll let them off of that. So let me take you on a little tour around this board. You'll notice most little imperfections occur at merge points of the compressed sisal biscuits which the boards are made of. This is common on most boards and can lead to the odd indent, raised line or depth change where the biscuits change and merge. I do notice a very small amount of imperfections, but nothing that's going to cause me to be upset at all. The wiring is similar to the Pro Tour, which I'd like to have been a little bit more of an improvement on this board, as the Bulls Advantage 501 and the Shot Bandit Duro almost have flush wires to the board, which increases the actual impact area and reduces deflections and bounce outs. The colours look reasonably good, though with only minimal bleeding in some small sections, and it's all got a very nice clean look to it. And I used the Sharpie actually on Winmore logos on my Blade 4 to try and make it look cleaner for when I rotated it, and that's one of the big pluses of this board. Wherever you rotate it, you will either have Target or Aspar looking symmetrical around the entire board, which is a great feature. I also really like this numbering. It's probably not going to be favoured by traditionalists or those new to the game, but for those of us who generally know where the numbers are, the discrete look is actually quite nice, and I applaud the innovation and creativity into bringing something new to the seemingly similar boards we've had over the past few years. Now whilst I've been rabbiting on, you can see me pricking the board with the darts, testing out the different areas for the hardness. The previous Target Pro Tour board was sometimes criticised by those with a lighter throw, as the board is quite hard and they get many bounce outs as the darts don't really penetrate the board as deeply as they'd like. In all honesty, it feels a little bit the same as the Pro Tour was beforehand. It's quite a hard board, which is not an issue for me personally, but those with a lighter throw who favour a soft board like the Unicorn or the Winmore, then I'm sad to say, because I think that it actually has the same problem as before. However, I did find that this softened a bit more after a couple of days. I think because they are cold during transport, and when they're put into the warmer house, this actually allows the sisal to adapt, so do bear that in mind. Here's a quick montage of me throwing on the board for the Taylor and Barney reviews. I've actually filmed another couple of Target Darts reviews coming up soon, so this board has had a good bit of testing done on it, and I haven't had any issues with it, outside of it being a little hard. I've actually really enjoyed the aesthetic change from a traditional number ring. I've drafted in the extremely talented darts designer Zach Thornton of Thornton Darts here to do some testing with me after the thrashing I gave him. This is what we had to say about the board, completely live and honest.
Nothing bad about that. What do you think of the board?
That's alright. I don't mind it. It's a little bit stiff. There doesn't seem to get much penetration, but I don't mind it. It just seems to leave. I don't think people like the holes being left in. I think on the blade it soaks it up a bit more.
Yeah, the healing's not superb on it. I mean, you know, it's a Target, and I feel like once it looks like that, it'll stay like that. It's not like it's going to completely shred up. I think the price is fine. I like the Aspar, I like the Target, I like... Numbering is preference. It's a bit different. I don't fault difference.
To be honest, I think because I've played darts for so long, I don't need to look at the numbers anymore.
Yeah.
So I thought it would maybe be a bit worse than it is, but to be honest, I don't really look. I don't have to look where the 20 is or the 18 or the 7 because you play for so long. But yeah, it's alright. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
So, should you buy this board? On the plus side, being firmer means that it should be more durable and last longer, which is good and what you want from a home board. The colours are nice and vibrant, and the logos allow for easy symmetrical rotation, which is a big plus. I also like the discrete numbering, although sadly my Scolia couldn't identify the actual outer edges of the board, so please bear that in mind as you may need to change to a white outer ring, but that's more of a Scolia issue than the Target issue, as most of us do prefer those discrete numberings. On the negative, it is quite pricey compared to some of the other competition. We're used to seeing Target darts charging a premium, but they tend to be very innovative designs with very extreme cuts, but for me there are alternatives on the functional side that are a lot better and cheaper than the Target boards, so it does boil down to if you want something a bit different with the Aspar and if a firm board doesn't put you off. Otherwise, at $49.95 it's not hugely expensive and may be worth a try if you want to try something new. I have added the traditional numbering for you to see what it also looks like, and this one is the HD2 numbering from the Unicorn board. I actually prefer the Aspar ring, but to each their own. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Please like, share and subscribe if you want to see more from me and from the fast growing world of the fantastic darts. Thanks again, and remember, love darts.